All right, let's jump right in. Have you ever been watching a video of a car and noticed something just off? That weird little visual glitch with the wheels? Well, believe it or not, that's more than just a trick of the eye. It's actually our way into understanding some really fundamental math. Math that not only builds our digital world, but also keeps our most critical technology safe. So think about it for a second. Why does this happen? You see a car speeding up, but the wheels look like they're hitting the brakes, or maybe even spinning completely backwards. What is going on there? It feels like it breaks the laws of physics, but the secret isn't in the car, it's in the camera. Turns out, this thing has a name. It's called the wagon wheel effect. It's a classic digital illusion, and it happens because what you're seeing on a screen isn't smooth, continuous reality. Nope, it's a bunch of individual pictures or frames all stitched together, and sometimes the gaps between those pictures can totally fool our brains. Here's basically how it works. A camera doesn't see motion like our eyes do. It takes snapshots, what engineers call samples. Now, if it takes enough snapshots every second, like you see on the left, it captures the wheel's rotation perfectly. But if it takes too few, like on the right, it starts missing crucial bits of movement, and our brain just fills in the gaps with a motion that isn't really happening. The fancy scientific term for this is aliasing. It's what happens when a digital system just isn't sampling fast enough, and it ends up creating a totally misleading or alias signal. And this isn't just about wheels. It's why low-quality digital music can sound weird and tinny, or why a video game at a low frame rate feels so jerky. It really gets at a core challenge of the digital world. A super fast spinning wheel and a slow one can look exactly the same if you're not careful. So, if sampling too slowly is the problem, what's the fix? Well, luckily for us, there's a golden rule that mathematicians and engineers live by to make sure they get this right every time. And here it is, the big one, from the brilliant mind of Claude Shannon. His sampling theorem is basically the bedrock of our entire digital world. In simple terms, it says that to perfectly capture any signal, you have to sample it at a rate that's at least twice as fast as the highest frequency in that signal. To capture a wave, you got to measure it at least twice per cycle, once to see the peak and once to see the valley. Makes sense, right? And that magic number, that twice the highest frequency rule, has a special name, the Nyquist rate. You can think of it as the absolute minimum speed limit for sampling. If you go any slower than the Nyquist rate, you're going to get aliasing, and your data will be garbage. Go faster, and you're golden. So it really all boils down to your sampling strategy. If you oversample, that means sampling faster than the Nyquist rate, you get a crystal clear picture of reality. You can perfectly reconstruct the original signal. But if you undersample, you get hit with aliasing, you lose information, and you end up reconstructing the wrong signal entirely. That backward spinning wheel? Yep, classic case of undersampling. Okay, so we know how to capture data the right way. But what about analyzing it? What about understanding it? Well, the tools mathematicians use to break down complex signals are just as important. And just like sampling, they've gotten a lot better over time. The most famous tool is the Fourier transform. And honestly, the best way to think about it is like a prism. You know how a prism takes a single beam of white light and splits it into a rainbow of all its different colors? The Fourier transform does the exact same thing for signals. It can take a complex sound wave and break it down into all the simple individual notes that make it up. It's an absolutely incredible tool. But here's the catch. It's not perfect. The classic Fourier transform has some mathematical blind spots. For instance, it can't analyze a simple, constant signal, like a steady hum, because in math terms, that signal just goes on forever. Its successor, the Laplace transform, is even more powerful, but it still can't handle certain types of signals. We needed a true supertool. And that is where the generalized Fourier transform, or GFT, comes in. This thing is a true generalization. It was designed from the ground up to overcome the limits of the older tools. It can analyze and rebuild a much, much larger universe of signals that were totally out of reach before. I mean, when you lay it all out like this, you can really see what a huge leap this is. Those signals that fade out too slowly for Fourier, the GFT handles them. Those steady, constant signals that stump the Laplace transform, GFT gets those too. It's one single, unified framework that does everything the old tools could do and then some. So we've got this incredibly powerful new math tool. Awesome. But what is it for? Well, one of its most important jobs is to help us answer a very, very high-stakes question. How do we make absolutely sure that the systems we depend on every single day don't just fail? Seriously, think about it. We're talking about our power grid, the internet, the flight control systems that keep planes in the sky. For all of them, the number one, most important property is stability. You have to know that if something unexpected happens, the system can handle it and keep running safely. Answering, is it stable, is everything. Now, the formal term for this is Bounded Input, Bounded Output Stability, or BIBO. But it's a really intuitive idea. A system is stable if any reasonably small input, let's just call it a nudge, produces a response that is also small and limited. The system might wobble for a second, but it doesn't spin out of control. It always settles back down.
And the difference here is literally night and day. In a stable system, a small nudge gets absorbed, and everything just goes back to normal. But in an unstable system, that exact same nudge can set off a chain reaction, where the response just grows and grows and grows, leading to catastrophic failure. This is why checking for stability is so unbelievably critical.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The way we used to check for this stuff, it was kind of broken. The old methods were often incredibly sensitive. That meant a tiny, microscopic error in your initial numbers could get blown way out of proportion and lead you to the completely wrong conclusion about whether a system was safe. And for really complex systems, they were just way too slow. But this is where the new math comes in. By completely rethinking the problem, using these advanced concepts like matrix functions, researchers have found a much, much better way. This really is a quantum leap in how we guarantee our systems are safe. Let's just start with speed. For a complex system, how much faster is this new method? It is over 1,400 times faster, 1,465 times. That's not just an improvement. That's a completely different ballgame.
I mean, just look at this. It's not even a contest. What used to take almost 1,500 units of computing time now takes just 1. This kind of speed means engineers can run safety checks constantly, in real time, which is absolutely vital for things like our national power grid.
But it's not just about being fast, right? You also have to be right. And this is where it gets really impressive. In a test where things were deliberately made uncertain, this new method scored a perfect 1.0 on prediction accuracy. The classic method, it barely got above 0.5. So the new way is not just way faster, it's vastly more reliable. And that's how we connect all the dots. We started with a simple illusion with a spinning wheel, which led us to the rules of digital sampling, and that took us all the way to this advanced new math that gives us a faster, more accurate, and way more robust method for making sure our technology is safe.
And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating question to think about. This was just one application in one field. So how many other critical systems that we rely on, in medicine, finance, transportation, how many of them are just waiting for their own mathematical breakthrough to become fundamentally better, faster, and safer? The hidden math is all around us, just waiting to be discovered.